to a couple of launch events, had a great time. And lots of local events as well. We're Impulse Launch Systems. This is kind of a passion project. Gloria and I are both Rocketeers. We're both level 2 certified, and we really enjoy the hobby. Given our experience with launches and my experience in particular with launch controllers and public address systems, we try to build innovative, high quality, easy to use products. One of our fortes is having everything in one place. So this launch rack here, the sport launch rack, everything you use with the rack stows inside that central PVC pipe there. When you show up at the next launch, everything is there. Hopefully you remembered a little emery cloth so you can polish up those launch rods. We build field tough gear, and we hope you'll agree our experience with rocketry leads to very simple, easy to use systems. They are for sport, MPR, HPR, TARC teams, and STEM education. I'm happy to say we've sold quite a few bundled launch racks and fiver launch controllers to schools, mostly out here in the Southwest. It's been a great experience. We've gotten lots of positive feedback. Our systems are designed to comply with and in fact encourage the NAR safety code. We strive for simplicity, also with the mind towards very clear indicators of the status of the system. Even at a distance, you can glance at a controller or console and see whether the arm paddle is up. That's a good indication that you should be cautious. Our biggest innovation, I think, is an audible arm warning when arm is set both at the console and the controller. That's especially important for people who are downrange at the pads. Suddenly they're aware that there's a hazard here, and they can quickly flip the controller to safe and call back to the LCO table and ask them to set the system to safe so they can proceed. Initially, we were a little concerned that the rocketeering community wouldn't be too keen to replace that gel cell battery with a 12-volt LiPo. These LiPo batteries have been very popular. We sell them for $50. We don't make much profit on them. And all except 2 of the systems that we've sold have included the power pack option. It's been very popular. We've gotten positive feedback about it. There's an online testing tool that allows me through DigiKey to test the mean time between failure. So what I did is I put together a collection of the parts that go into these controllers, and I set the test to field conditions, daily use. And the MTBF was calculated at 13 years. Now that would be 13 years under day-to-day use. And of course, you only use your launch controller once, maybe twice a month, sometimes a little bit more often than that. We expect these products to last a very long time. And we've built them to assure that. That being said, everything we deliver is warranted, and following the warranty period, we have an active repair program. You can call us or email us, tell us what's going on. We'll do our very best to set things right. So I've been having a wonderful time in the shop this week. I've been fashioning a new product. This is a prototype of our Pizzazz, yes, I'm corny, public address system. It'll be delivered with 8-foot speaker towers and a wireless microphone system. I've fashioned systems like this in the past and had good experience. It's based on a pile audio amplifier. It's a 2-channel amplifier. It's waterproof. It's designed to be put in a pleasure boat. So it's pretty durable. The power ratings are RMS, and so it's a nice, clean sound system. I believe in horn speakers. They're very efficient, especially at voice frequencies. You can get a whole lot of sound directed at your audience, at your launch field. These are 100 decibel capable speakers. They're rated at 50 watts. What we're going to do is we're going to offer this system for sale with 2 or 4 speakers. And the system I'm working on now is rated for 150 watts RMS by 2 channels. The concept is these are 8 ohm speakers. It's hard to find 4 ohm speakers. This amplifier likes to drive a 4 ohm load. It reaches its maximum power level with a 4 ohm load. So you can daisy chain 2 speakers on either side and get a really loud, clear system. So the other customization would be, we'll ask you what wire lengths you want. You want your speakers 25 feet apart? You want them 50 feet apart? And do you want 2 or 4 speakers? We'll customize this system. I'm not going to be stocking 20 audio amplifiers. This will be built to order, so we can make it exactly the product that you want. So that's all I have for now. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that anyone might have.
I have one quick question. Do you have set up where you can have another speaker facing the launch pads? Because of my experience, a lot of launches, people in the spectator area can hear just fine, but if you're out at the pad setting up something, you can't hear.
That's an interesting idea. I'm going to give that some thought. It would have to be fairly forward of the LCO table so that you didn't get feedback through your wireless microphone. But that's an interesting idea. I'd like to consider incorporating something like that. Thank you.
Any more questions for Thomas? Okay.
Real quick,
Yeah,
price
go ahead.
of the launcher and price on the audio.
I don't have the price established on the audio system just yet. I haven't finished specifying all of the parts complement. We offer a fiber launch controller with a 50-foot extension. I don't have the, I'm looking for my price list right now. We also have an HPR1. That's our least expensive. It's around $280. HPR3 with
Oops.
the HPR1 has 50-foot and 100-foot extensions available. The HPR3 and HPR5 both have 100-foot or 300-foot extensions. I welcome anyone who's interested to go to our website, impulselaunch.com. All of our products are very thoroughly documented there. We have the user manuals and everything.
Okay, that's cool.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Interesting stuff you have there, as always. Look forward to seeing more of it out in the field. All right, next up, I see Mr. Steele's lounging back. Can you take over here, Matt?
Unmute your,
Okay,
there you go.
we'll see if we get unmuted, and let's see. Now I'm going to go to the magic of sharing the screen. Let's see what. Don't know that it wants to do it. Let's see. Hang on. It's telling me I gotta open something. Oh, okay. Give me a second here.
I have screen sharing enabled for all participants, which specifically is the manufacturers. So it shouldn't be that, Matt, hopefully.
No, I think it's in my system is it's arguing that it doesn't want to do it. Hang on a second. There we go. Let's see if it'll do that. Oh. Actually, it's telling me I got to get out of it, Zoom, and come back in. So how about we come back to me later and let me back out of this?
Okay, Matt, that's fine. Okay. Jason Turek, are you available? Folks from Lock?
Hey, everybody, you bet. How you doing?
There he is. He's right. Yep.
Audio is good.
You need, do you have something to share on screen, Jay?
No, we're just gonna talk.
Fire away,
Gonna
man.
bend your ear for a little bit. So, Dave and Jay, from Lock and Now Public Missiles, which is awesome and crazy. So, yeah, so I think we're gonna start there with PML. It's been pretty crazy and fun, you know, intermixing components and figuring out, you know, what can be shared. And we have a little update on that. So you want to let them know what's changing, Dave, a little bit?
Well, so, you know, the biggest thing is integrating the two companies. We've had a lot of fun, you know, playing with certain components, but the technical aspects of the website and everything have kind of been a challenge. And one of our, you know, biggest hopes that we've accomplished, at least, is to be able to combine both companies into one shopping cart, so that you know, shipping is combined and people can take advantage of crossing there. You know, from that, it's also PML, a fantastic company. We're trying to, similar to Lock, make sure that we can produce the kits at and keep costs affordable, right? I mean, we've all had fun with COVID these last couple of years, and every manufacturer has been fighting with the price increases and everything else. You know, so we've been trying to take our time to dissect and figure out the best way to maintain that and follow through on what Frank would do with public missiles that he didn't have a chance to accomplish. You know, the first one is removing the quick switch. He didn't want to go through and take the time to deal with all the instructions and remove it, but it was his intent to finally remove the quick switch. As we're all aware, longer motors are available.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Gary.
You know, for certain diameters and millimeters. So it's great to have, but that quick switch has always kind of, you know, limited your maximum length of motor. So we're going to work through a system that he had in play already, using the aluminum retainers and aluminum adapters for different motors. So the quick switch is going to find its way out the door. It will still have it available for those that really want it and want to add it on. But the aluminum retention system and adapter system will be the way to go. The other big thing we got was kind of on the fence was the piston system. You know, and with us being up north, quantum and phenolic being two different materials, the quantum shrinks at a little faster rate in the cold weather than phenolic does. So all of a sudden the piston can bind, and we've heard many thoughts on that. We have a solution we're going to start implementing as of yesterday. In order to, we'll still offer a piston if people want to add it, but we're going to offer Kevlar tethers and blankets as an option. You know, down south, it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue. We love the quantum tube up here for finishing and painting and even structural integrity. We love it. So we don't want to go changing everything, but we're going to try to update some of the things that, just like Lock had kind of been sitting for the last 25 years, and we feel with some modernization can be improved, especially with now PML having a laser in-house. There's things that we can create and update a little bit. So that's the biggest thing. And then the co-pilot is probably the other one. If we could get chips in this world, we all know the electronic struggles. We're working to update or come up with an updated version of the co-pilot. It was great 25 years ago. There have been many new electronic ideas, so we're going to take a look at that. But yeah, having both companies
Right.
in-house is going to offer us as a metaphor, I'd say, like when you're buying a car, you can select your trim level. Well, same thing with the rocket. We're going to have trim levels where Lock has its standard and PML has its standard, and they're not going to, if they can cross and join hands, that's great. But ultimately, they're still going to maintain their own brand identity, which was key for us. Both companies have been instrumental in the growth of rocketry, and we don't want to upset that. We just want to improve on it. So as always, we love suggestions from everybody, because that's what drives us to create what we create.
Right.
Right.
And the CPR system, close proximity recovery.
Yeah.
It's still awesome, but the lock style eBay, you can throw more than one altimeter into it, so you can have redundancy, and that was missing back in the day. So for certification flights and things like that, so that's required. So we're going to help PML have that option.
Yeah, for
Right.
redundancy
So-
and bringing the best of both, because most of the components fit each other just fine. It's when you start going inside of couplers and motor tubes and some rings where the wall thicknesses of the tubes differ slightly. The actual airframes themselves are really scarily similar. So that's kind of fun for us.
It's a lot of fun. Tail cones, urethane parts.
Yeah, they
it's
nose cones,
all
airframes,
yeah.
it's great. But coupler thicknesses and motor tube thicknesses, that impacts your rings, bulkheads, and
Right.
and otherwise. But we're going to try to work through some and see if we can have a more happy medium.
Right.
And then so the other big exciting things for 2022 that we're looking at, big shout out to the hot nozzles. They've been so
That
much
was
fun
great.
to work with.
That was fun.
And can't help but just their enthusiasm for growing the hobby fits our core value of trying to get more people to launches, bring in new people. Launches are fun, they're exciting, and I understand their perspective, that younger generation, of where sometimes you come into just the same olds, and we not consciously give a cold shoulder, but it's like, oh, new guy, these questions again. We're all guilty, every one of us, and so embracing these new people to get in and to grow this hobby, and the more people we see at launches, the more fun we all have. So again, growth of the hobby is, again, one of our key components, and they've been fun to work with for sure. So a great shout out for their cause and what they've been doing, and it really has us rejuvenated again after just a couple of years.
For sure. And
It's
we
so much
share
fun.
their thoughts and everything
Yeah.
with them. We're trying to advertise outside the hobby more. So trying to get that new blood in. And when we met Andrew and Jenna, it was because of Jesse. Thank you, Jesse.
Yes, thanks, Jess.
It was just awesome. So we share their
You're welcome, guys.
And yeah, thank you. It's exciting because the outreach that they have is still great, that we're trying to do right and get there, but with their help, it's going to be awesome.
Right, just generational differences, and that's awesome. But in the interest of all the vendors here, we'll cut it short at that. If there's questions, we can take them or we can respond later. We want to make sure everybody has a chance with the, technology is great when it does work, understanding that. So we'll just wrap it up
Any
with
questions, let us know.
Hey, Jason, just to
Yes, sir.
clarify, the HML retainers are still going to be available, correct?
PML retainers, yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
That was short and sweet. I love it.
I know. Anybody else?
Happy Friday.
Anyone else for these gentlemen?
Yeah, come on, guys. As you're combining things, what new products do you foresee in the near future?
Oh, that's classified.
Yeah, that's a good
We
one.
have some fun ideas already, but in reality, we have to make sure, we've still got to make sure the seamless technical aspects of things are going to come together proper. What we want to do and what we're capable of doing are always two different things. Our limits right now are just bound by the technology that we've got available on the website and the company integrations. And the quicker we can charge through some of the challenges, the quicker we'll have some of that, those fun projects take forefront, and even maybe resurrecting some past projects that never really got off the ground that look really intriguing to us.
Right.
Okay,
And
well,
because of, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a question for the lock PML people.
Go
Okay,
ahead, Stanley.
okay. On your website, couldn't you please use centimeters as well as inches on, so because I like to do my work in metric units, and it's only inches. I mean, at least with Apogee, it shows both of them. So I've raised this issue before, like I guess a year ago with the virtual NARCON, and you didn't act on it. But not to misunderstand, I'm a big fan of lock products, but I really wish on your website you would put the dimensions in centimeters as well as inches.
Certainly can.
Yeah, my brain works in that metric capacity because all our equipment runs on metric. So to me, it's pretty tuned in.
But your website doesn't use metric whatsoever.
No,
Yeah.
the website's American. They don't like that stuff.
But I mean, couldn't you at least do both the way Apogee does?
That's certainly true, and we certainly can. Manpower has been a challenge, and we have more now.
Yeah, we've added a few
So
more people.
thank you
so,
for that.
Yeah,
But not to misunderstand, I'm a big fan of your company. I've bought products from you, and I like your company, but I really do wish you put your dimensions in centimeters as well as inches.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate it,
Sounds good.
Stanley.
Thank you, Stanley. We'll remember that.
Thank
Hey
you.
guys, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So any progress on that flexible phenolic tubes that you guys have been trying to resurrect for a while?
I think we're out of stock now, Paul, but since PML is here now, we really don't necessarily need it.
Well, and the flexible, while we loved it, because of manufacturer overtakes and the supply well before COVID, they tried to reproduce some of the original stuff we had. And it's not the same. Basically, they're unable to make it like they used to make it because of a corporate takeover, and that's the best, most polite way to put it.
That is, yeah.
Doesn't meet it's not satisfactory enough for us. Yes, it's there, but I think we're going to have to let it drift because they can't do it anymore. A lot of the tubing companies and everybody else on here will agree. We've been fighting quality issues with them inside and out, and I think everybody's got that same thing. So if they can just get the standard tubing correct, we're doing cartwheels right now, then alone trying to resurrect something they haven't touched in 20 years prior to a corporate takeover. I wish I had a better answer, but that is the reality of the situation.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
bet.
we'll need to move on. I'd like to thank fellows from Lock and PML. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Okay, let's go to Matt. You get online yet?
Yeah, let's see if I can do it this time. So
While he's working at it, let me say real quickly, if you guys want to see things in full screen, go up to the view in the upper right-hand corner and select speaker as opposed to gallery, and that will make Matt and everybody from this point forward nice and big, that you're not looking at a little window.
okay, can you see it now?
Yep,
looks
looks
great,
great,
Matt.
Matt.
Okay, so I kind of put together just a real quick summary of what's going on. As you can see, I'm fortunate enough now with North Coast to live out in the salt flats, so I took advantage of the dry flats to just kind of get some nice photos. And this was just the existing line. So left to right is the Laserhawk, Vectra, Cluster Duck, Lance Delta, SR-99 Hyper Swift, Hobgoblin, Archer, and Bounty Hunter. And I'm holding the now Night Fighter because I ran into a problem with copyright on the other name. So everything has been rebranded that way. So let's see now if I can get this thing to shift away. Okay, so just to, oh, let's go back one. So a couple of things is I just want to give you some stuff that we've done. I've really moved into a lot of 3D printing over the last year. On the left is the 3D printed parts for the Argo D4 Javelin Super Scale model. And on the right is a version that Tony Reynolds made that ended up 12th place in the World Championship. So it's a pretty spectacular kit. Tony actually three-staged that, like an F-44 to a B-62 to a half A-62 and had a spectacular flight. So, you know, it's an expensive kit because of the quantity of 3D printed parts in there, but the quality is good. And for those people who, you know, want a nice scale kit, that's something we offered. Really did that because that's what I wanted. So for me and my closest friends, you can have it. This is the Vectra, and this is kind of an Air Force missile sort of looking thing. And what we've done is it has a on the left, you can see on the parts, it has a lower fin can that the main fins are. But then it is also has some notched tube. The upper tube is notched, and the fins align there as well. So gives you a kind of a two-stage effect. And this one builds real easy as well. We've been real happy with it. This is a newest one that's called the MGM 157A Scorch. This is an experiment in wraps. And I'm definitely going to do a whole lot more with this, but this is an incredibly detailed little rocket with a spectacular paint and coloration scheme. And it actually, you have to paint the red on the nose cone and the fins red and white, that almost everything else is covered is covered with wraps of one way or another. And it's pretty easy to put together. Steve Crystal helped me a lot on this one because he's the master of wraps, and we spent about 2.5 pages in the instructions going through it. So it's a fun little kit. And I actually have wet decals in this kit because it just kind of demanded it as well. So it has a 3D printed integral boat tail that the fins slip into. So again, kind of on my journey to see where 3D printing would go. I wanted to do a 3D printed boat tail. It's got an integral end ring, and it's also got integral slots and supports for the fins. So, and this is a fun little flyer on Fs, and I actually don't recommend Gs because it's too far to walk to go get it. This is the Corporal. Just announced this and just brought this out over the last couple of weeks. This is actually the 4th iteration of a North Coast Corporal that I've done, just because it seems to be a classic design and a fantastic flyer. So it's a fun one, and that is just out now. Coming soon is for those of you who can't afford a $499 version of the Argo D4 Javelin. I've done a sports scale version of it as well, and that'll be out soon. This was the last of the test flights to make sure I could get everything to fly the way that I wanted it to do it. This is actually uses Quest Nike fin units for the 2nd and 3rd stage, and a Black Betty nose cone on the upper, but it has 3D printed adapters between the Honest John and the Nike, and also between the XM248 and the 3rd stage. And this one's actually a little bit harder to build than the more expensive kit because it has plywood cut fins on the 1st stage and no boat tail. But it's designed for 24mm engines, and the picture on the right, you can see it comes down nicely under a 36-inch North Coast chute. Then the next one up is Artemis 1 Space Launch System. It's a real race to see whether I get this kit out before the real one launches or not. Been working on it for probably a good solid 2 years. But on the left, you can see the 3D printed parts. These are some roughs that I'm using that will build into the test flight model. And it's not far away from being done. So we think we're going to make it before the launch. Not sure on the pricing on this because you can see it's got a considerable amount of 3D printed parts as well. And then the other thing is we actually, if you look over on the right-hand picture, you can kind of see by the nose cones of the solid rocket boosters, there's what we kind of call the waffle grid. And I have a really nice, beautiful 3D printed part that looks like that to join the two tubes. And now that we're seeing how the real one is going together, it turns out that that part's all completely covered with foam and it doesn't look like anything at all. So we'll probably end up with a straight tube there when it's all said and done. So that, like I say, that's evolving. And like I say, that should be out sometime this spring. It's not far away. It will be a single engine 29 millimeter kit when it's all said and done. This is also in works and coming soon. The Star Launch 123, designed by Dave Myers. It also did the F-117 and a number of Estes kits. And this has actually got 3 little gliders on it down at the bottom. USA, I think Japan, and a European Union. Schrox did the artwork design for me. This is a fun rocket. It actually would be out, except that when I go fly this, I need 4 people, one to watch every one of the parts. And that's taken a bit of time, but this will be laser cut plywood and it has some 3D printed parts in it as well. This would be late spring. And then right around the corner too is the Usmx 2100, which I just really need to finish the instructions and some of the decals, but it's, as you can see, that's the production label artwork is pretty much there. And that's again around a 2.6 inch tube, and another big sport flyer. I tried to do a couple of interesting things with it. Oh, and then the last one, 4-inch kits I'm going to bring back. So the Phantom 4000 is going to come back under North Coast name. And then the lovely Tracy Reeves on the right is showing the old SA-14 Archer XL. There'll be a new version of it. The big difference between the original North Coast Rocketry kits and even the North Coast Rocketry by Estes 4-inch ones is these are not going to feature a 34-inch long single tube. I'm going to go back to fin can and like a 10 or 11-inch fin can and 23-inch tube. It'll make the boxes smaller with the prices of shipping and everything like that. It's just too expensive to do the long tubes in terms of boxes, but also it will let me put a longer stuffer tube in these for more reliable parachute deployment as well. So those will be out summer, fall. This is the first 2 of what I anticipate will be 6 that will be out by Christmas. So that's kind of what I got going on.
Matt, it's Jesse from Rocketry Show. Hey, this is exciting because every time we pull you into the Rocketry Show and we talk to you about this kind of stuff, and to see your presentation now, like I got to tell you, everybody that listens to the podcast and myself, CG and Charlie Harnet's making some comments there. We're super excited. So thanks for your efforts and hopefully you had fun doing all this stuff, you know, for yourself and 100 of your closest friends.
Yeah, I have. And the good thing is the one good thing to come out of COVID is I've been working from home and it's making it more productive for my time to go work on North Coast Rocketry instead. So I've been able to get some things done and I just got permission that I'm permanently going to be working from home and not going back to what I had a place in Huntsville, Alabama, because I work professionally at Aerojet Rocketdyne. So I should be able to keep up this level of productivity over the near future.
Any more questions for Matt?
Yeah, quick question. This is Eric. The material that you use for 3D printing, what is it? Is it PETG, PLA, ABS?
So Mike Nowak from Galactic Manufacturing does all of my 3D printing for the big structural parts. I do some stuff out of PLA that's smaller, but this is all, I'm going to get in trouble. Mike will be able to answer the question. Mike, are you on? What's the right name for it? It's actually with the Form Labs 2 and 3 printed. So it's more like a stereolithographic and it's not a hot melt type system. It's
Oh, well, no, I've just been dabbling with PETG, which is supposed to take the heat, but be strong as ABS.
yeah, no, this is a different system. This is this is the magic grow it out of the vat system that's UV or laser light cures.
Gotcha.
A resin printer, Matt?
Yeah, it's a resin printer. And that was interesting because if you notice, well, anyhow, on the Javelin, when we were testing it, we thought we had everything okay. And we used the white plastic and it worked really good up until I did a test flight out on the salt flats. And when the model landed under 2 parachutes, it shattered every damn white plastic piece that we had. And Mike and I had to go through and get a toughened resin that had a much higher impact resistance for the adapters. The fins are okay in the white plastic, but we use a real toughened Formlabs resin for the structural parts to resist cracking. The other stuff was just too brittle.
Yeah, Matt, to add what Matt said, the base resin that we use is really good, but some of the parts, like he says, I will drop on a concrete floor and they will shatter with it. The new material we got, which cost-wise is about the same, weight-wise is the same, you drop it on the floor, it'll bounce. It has the consistency and some of the mechanical properties of PVC. So for something like this size and landing on a salt flat, it's really, really, really durable.
Hey, Matt,
Okay.
somebody was asking about the diameter of the SLS.
It'll be around a 2.64 inch tube that I'm doing. And then the SRBs are like BT11, like 29 millimeter motor tubes. That's what it'll be around. It'll be about 36 inches long, give or take.
So like an F or G model?
It's for F or Gs, yeah. Yeah. And for everybody who's going to ask, no, I'm not doing the 4-inch models with 38 millimeter motor mounts. You're going to have to go use a 29 millimeter H if you want to. Or I looked at it really hard, and that exercise will be left to the modeler.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Matt. We need to move along here. And since you started it with Mike, let's bring Mike Nowak in from Galactic Manufacturing. Mike, you want to step up, please?
Right, I will, and let's see if I can share screen. I think we're there. Okay, everybody see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Super. Okay, I'm probably the smallest manufacturer on the program tonight. My son and I started laser cutting parts and 3D printing parts about 4 years ago, primarily supplying several manufacturers. Since that time, though, we have branched out and are starting to do some small parts, and actually we'll be releasing our first kit this year. Let's see here. We opened our Shopify store a little bit over a year ago. The Estes doorknob is a great sports model. It's been really popular, but it's also a great scale kit. What we decided to do was upgrade some of the parts for it. Certainly replacing the fiber centering rings and the balsa fins with 1/8-inch laser cut plywood is one thing. But if you look at the kit, they have little decals around the fins that are supposed to represent the fin supports. On the prototype, they didn't have that, and the center image that you see on the screen is a 3D printed fin support complete with its base. What happens is that the fins that you have slip through that slot in the fin support, and they line up perfectly with the slots in the Estes body tube, and you have a more scale rendered looking fin for your doorknob. If you're really, I am, there are some details in the doorknob that aren't on the Estes kit. Again, you talked about the black dot decals. If you look at the prototype, there are vent holes in the fin can. Yes, you could probably cut them out of the body tube, but why not do one integrated fin can out of one 3D printed part? And that's what we've done. You see you'd have to cut the Estes body tube short to fit the fin can on, but you have the vents and the fin supports that I showed in the other previous slide are integrated into the wall of the fin can, so they're all one piece. The fins slide into the slots and slide through that into the centering rings. As a one integrated part, it works really well. To add to the scale detail are the rail guides that are available. No, they don't fit any standard rail guides that you use to launch, but they are matching the scale rail guides that are used to launch the doorknob. And of course, we're going to add the laser cut plywood fins. And by the way, go to our website. All these things are available as individual selling parts in addition to the kit combination. James Duffy, I owe you a beer for presenting this earlier today. Anybody who's ever flown a Estes, Apollo, Saturn of any sort, number one is the pain putting the escape tower lattice together. Number two, it's destined to break after 1 or 2 launches and safe landings. This took I think about 2 years of development to get it the way I wanted it. I've been 3D printing lattices probably for about 3 years for my scale model Saturns. They're a pain to do. Initially, I was outsourcing them to Shapeways, getting them printed in brass or other materials so they're durable. The really interesting thing that happened was coming out with and finding a really tough resin. This thing, as I said, has the mechanical properties of PVC. It's really it bends. Yes, you could break it, but it's far, far more durable than any other plastic that I have seen so far. We had to adjust the scale parts of it to fit the Estes capsule kit, but you can see on the right that it does. And just one little added feature that, when we ship these little, and they are still delicate, and I'd be concerned about the Postal Service crushing them. They ship in a small jewel case so that they're protected until you get to them. This is a 1/100th. We're doing a 1/70th that is in beta testing right now, and that should be available within a few months. Other things we've done, James Duffy earlier this year showed a video on how to take a Estes Big Red Max kit and upscale it to a Citation Patriot upscale, going from a VT60 to a larger diameter body tube. We came up with a kit to allow you to do that. It has the laser cut fins, the centering rings for the kit, and we also included the extension body tube and tube coupler. Sticker shock sells the necessary wraps to make it look the same. But if you're into upscaling a Citation, we've got that available for you. The big thing that we've done, and it's in the process of being released and in production, you're going to hear a lot about FAI events during this NARCON, simply because I think the World Championships are coming to the United States in 2023. 10 years ago, my son, Nick, who works with me at Collective Manufacturing, and my daughter, Rachel, got into FAI competition. At that time, Mark Petrovich had a small company called Venus Rocketry. He sold pre-made airframes that were made out of fiberglass and mylar and Jap tissue, and had laser cut fins, had the nose cone, and it was a really nice way for my kids to get as an entry level in FAI competition. FAI has specific rules in terms of minimum length and minimum diameters for most of their competitions. This particular model will allow you to put, is what's used typically for parachute duration, streamer duration, and helicopter duration. This is what we decided to do was not make it out of fiberglass, but to make it out of cardstock. Once we got away from some of the fiberglass, my children and I were doing vellum models. Steve Crystal, who will be talking a couple times later in NARCON, is really taking that another step with vellum and also with cardstock models. He has designed and built the airframe. These things are lightweight, they are durable, and the main thing is they're flyable. The entire kit weighs a grand total of 12 grams without engines or recovery system. The components: simple vacuum form nose cone and a foam base, laser cut balsa fins, and the airframe comes complete. They're pre-assembled from, again, laser cut cardstock parts. Steve is going to be pre-assembling these before they ship, and we will be shipping these kits out as a entry-level way to get into FAI competition. Again, parachute, streamer, and helicopter duration. And no, we're not, unfortunately, at this time yet, selling recovery systems with that. This is a little interesting thing that I added recently. One of the things you really want to do with any model, certainly to optimize altitude, is to have the fins on straight, correct? The gold standard for FAI and for a lot of competition modeling was what was called a rose fin jig. That was out about 10 to 15 years ago. They're expensive, they're really well done. But the idea is, can we come up with an inexpensive fin jig for these kits that allows you to put the fins on, align them well, and the base, you see the cylindrical part, gives them that sort of half-inch or so step off from the base, so that you can put your motor in and tape it to the body tube. This is specifically designed for this model, but basically any PT5 model with 3 fins that are 16th inch diameter or 16-inch thickness, I'm sorry, will work with this. So again, this is a feature for our FAI modelers. Let's see here. What we're going to be doing, we've already released or in pre-release the FAI models. We're going to be selling these, and we've also released the fin jig. We are also going to be selling a starter kit for those folks who just want to do buy one item and get what you need to get started. That will consist of enough parts to build 2 kits and a fin jig to get you started. On this last slide is our website address for our store, galacticmanufacturing.com. And if you got any questions, you can certainly use our email to get to us. But that's what we got to talk about right now. So I'll drop this out and see what questions we got in the chat.
Any questions for Mike?
Will you
Okay.
make custom parts for individuals or no?
The shorter answer is yes, I do custom parts. If you're willing to wait sometimes. Part of the services I do is for 3D printing. I will do 3D CAD parts. I've done several for some of the scale modelers. Yes, I do charge for my time to do that, but yes, I do I do the rendering, plus also I will do the printing for folks. I do one-offs, and I think they're fun and I also think it supports a lot of individuals that really want to do things and don't have the access to either a 3D printer or a laser cutter.
Pretty cool seeing you're getting into the building stuff there, Mike. Congrats.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Cornelius.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mike. Good looking stuff there. And we're gonna move along here. Let's go, Bill Stein, are you out there, Bill?
Yep, let me get things dialed up here.
Okay. Okay, we can see you, Bill.
Okay, and you can see me full screen? Yes?
Yep. Thumbs up.
Okay, great. All right. All right, great to see everybody. Boy, that was frustrating getting in. But it looks like we've got like 164 people on, so that's great. All right, well, here's a quick snapshot of some new stuff that's happening at Estes. Hopefully all of you have your new 22 catalog in your hands. We're real proud of this catalog. Every year we're putting more and more effort in, and I think it's really starting to show. It's a beautiful catalog, and there's a lot of great new stuff in there. I'm going to show you a couple things that aren't in the catalog. So I'll go ahead and start with the Universal Astro Cam. So this is a cute little chrome plastic holder that the Astro Cam slides into. It comes with 3 little tie-back wraps that you can wrap around any standard rocket, hold it in place with tape, and Universal Astro Cam. I guess this is a good segue to go ahead and move on to Super Mars Snooper. This is actually an upscale of our classic Mars Snooper. It's about 50% again as large as the original. It features a screw-on motor retainer. It's 24mm mount. All of the cones on this, they are all new in, they're all new molded plastic cones that perfectly mimic all of the original balsa cones. So it's all plastic cones now, still an advanced build. This thing just flies beautifully on a C11 and a D12. It's a real nice, slow, draggy liftoff that we all love. So we got the Super Mars Snooper. I wanted to show you guys the Vesta Intruder. This one actually shipped back in August, and it's part of our Space Corps line. And until you actually get the package and see some of the close-up photographs, I think we failed to accurately show some of the great details on this kit in the catalog and on the website. So first of all, it's a big kit. It's almost 26 inches tall. It does also have a 24mm mount in it, C11 D12. But there's a lot of detail here on the fins that doesn't show real well in some of the product renderings. So there's detail on the fin. There's some real interesting detail here around the motor mount. And of course, it's a beautiful, big, new blow molded nose cone. And some very interesting new graphics on this kit. So wanted to give you all a chance to see things up just a little bit closer with this because it's cool. It's a really cool kit. Coming in the catalog is the Super Orbital Transport. So just like the Super Mars Snooper, this will be an upscale version of the original product. So the actual shuttle itself is based around a BT-50. And again, new molded nose cones. The glider will have a plastic nose cone rather than the original balsa. And all laser cut parts. And it's a beautiful, again, a beautiful flying model. So we get the Super Mars Snooper and the Orbital Transport. Our new addition with the Designer Signature Series this year this is a Bill Simon design. And wanted to give you a little bit of detail of the rear end on this. Very interesting round disc, very Star Trek look to the whole thing. Bill actually still had his original prototype and all of his vellum original drawings from when he designed this kit. And so we got all of those. John Boren worked his magic and kind of upgraded everything. And it's a very cool looking product for the Designer Signature Series. And of course, our boxes and our packaging, we're dialing this in. We love telling the story. It makes the buying experience quite unique. We also have a builder kit of the Blue Origin New Shepard. So this will retail for about half the price of the ready to fly version, which is out and available now. This one features balsa fins, balsa strakes. It's a unique blow molded nose cone. And because the feather pattern on this is so difficult, and this is a compound curve, we're actually silk screening this graphic onto the nose cone so that you guys don't have to do that, but you will have to build and paint and apply water slide decals for the rest of it. And it's a 18 millimeter standard engine mount. So that's the Blue Origin builder kit. I can tell you that now we're working with them on the new Glen, and you can probably see a new Glen probably in next year's catalog. The big announcement is we're in the final stages of our SpaceX 1/100th Falcon 9. This is an official product. It has taken a long time because we are actually working with the SpaceX engineers. They're providing us drawings, specifically non-ITAR released drawings, but this will be an incredibly accurate scale model. The detail on all the injection molded parts will be great because they're providing all of it. The plastic fin unit for flight actually will screw in place. And for display, it's actually going to come with a small set of nozzles, and the nozzles will screw into place for the display. So look for this fourth quarter. It'll definitely be out for Christmas of next year. And this will also be unique distribution on this. This will only be available from Estes on our website and SpaceX on their website. That'll be the only place you'll be able to get this product. Put the fins back on so it'll stand up by itself. And just so that you guys don't think this is vaporware and 3D printed, where is it? I got a bag full here. These are all first shots out of the injection mold. So this is some of the detail on the kit that I'm going to show to you. So when you get to first shots, you're pretty far along on the design. All right, I'm going to share that one with you. All right, that's it on all the built up stuff. Many of you should have noticed in the new 22 catalog that we have 2 new engines out this year. We have 2 new 13 millimeters. We've brought back the A32-T and we've added an A36-T. Those will be shipping, they should be April or May. I also wanted to show you guys, just tease you a little bit. We do have a new 24 millimeter engine in development. It's a 24 millimeter long. This will be somewhere between an E57 and an E65. It will be a deep core burning black powder engine with less than 30 grams of propellant. So it will be USPS shippable. And hopefully it will be available in the 2023. So just wanted to tease you a little bit with that. I highly encourage all of you to attend John Langford's keynote address tomorrow night. He's going to talk for well over an hour. We've been working on the presentation with him for about 2 weeks, and tomorrow night's presentation will be the deepest dive look under the hood that any of you will have ever seen of Estes. We're going to really show you guys some stuff. We're going to talk an awful lot about the Langford's vision and where we see the company 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And our real goal is for Estes to still be a strong, viable company 100 years from now. So please don't miss the presentation. There's going to be a lot of neat stuff that he shows you. There might even be a few sneak peeks on some product that I'm not going to show you tonight. So tune in for that. So I wanted to leave enough time for a couple of questions. So go ahead and pop some questions at me.
Quick question, Bill. You having any trouble getting balsa?
We are not having trouble getting balsa. We get our balsa from Malaysia, and currently I've got wood right here. I'm going to knock on wood. We switched balsa sourcing about 3 years ago, and we buy it by the container, and it goes direct from Malaysia to our factory in China. So no problems there.
Hey, Bill, good to see you. I saw your fin unit there for the SpaceX rocket. It looks like it's a little beefier than the one on the 1-200 Saturn V.
Yes.
Do you have availability of new fin units for the RTF Saturn V? Because the one that I have, it broke on the first flight, so I need new fin unit for new clear fins units for that.
So I believe that we monitored that and we saw that, and it is my understanding that we have some fin units coming. We have over 25 containers on the water right now that are just literally on the water.
Yeah, you and a bunch of other companies.
Yeah. So when some of those containers get in, yeah, we will be offering that.
Good.
Quick question on the Blue Origin. Looking at the ready to fly versus the kit, the length to diameters ratios are different between the ready to fly and the kit. So which is closer to scale?
So the ready to fly is closer to scale. This is what we would call a sport scale. So yes, we took some liberty. It's a little bit longer. You'll notice the fins are at least 2, if not 3 times as large as you would find on the actual scale model. We did this kit for 2 reasons. One, to have a cheaper sport scale version for sport flyers, but we are also working with Club for the Future, which is the STEM education arm of Blue Origin, and they wanted a easy to build classroom kit. So we're developing some curriculum and lesson planning that will be distributed through our partnership with Club for the Future.
Question, when will you have the Saturn 1B back in stock?
When one of those 25 containers makes it through port into Penrose, they are in transit.
Hey, Bill.
Hey.
The SpaceX model, I couldn't quite tell. Is that a kit to be built, or is it a ready to fly?
It will be a ready to fly. will come with a nice display stand.
Thanks.
Will there be a plan for a Falcon Heavy in the future?
I actually think they're more interested in doing a Starship with us than the Falcon Heavy. We've prototyped the Falcon Heavy. The only reason we're not working on a Starship right now is it's evolving and changing so rapidly right now. They basically said, wait until we have this thing closer to what it's really going to be. But I think you're going to see the Starship as the next one with SpaceX.
Hi, Bill. Wait.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was gonna ask, since apparently, like, since with Quest and Aerotech switching over to composites, if maybe you guys will maybe bring back, like, start producing like Micromax motors, and I'm guessing eventually their supply will run out.
We have no current plans to bring back Micromax. Actually, we bought that equipment from Quest, and we do own it. So at some point in the future, you might see some Micromax products. I would think that might be predicated on some propellant development work that we're doing. And once we get through possibly the development of a new propellant, we might do something in a Micromax size.
Oh, one more question, Bill. You guys bought GoX.
I can confirm that we purchased GoX. I would encourage all of you to again watch John Langford's presentation tomorrow night. He'll give you a little bit deeper dive of why we did it and what we intend to do with it. But yes, we did buy GoX.
Okay. Obviously, you have uses for it, but some of us Rocketeers have uses for it too. Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
And thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. And we'll look forward to hearing from John tomorrow night.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. Strap your seatbelts on.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Okay. Let's move along here and let's go with Fliss Kits. Is Fliss Kits out there?
Yes, I am. This is Ray DePaula. How are you?
Fine, thanks, Ray.
I'm going to go through a couple of 1 minute of quick history, maybe a little bit less. So we bought the company from Jim. It's been 3 years now, and we spent the first year or so bringing back as many things as we could get started up again. We had to go buy some tubes after we bought it. There's a bunch of things we had to do just to bring back kits that were being used, starting really with education, because we had some big educational orders. Then we went through the list, and we've got 60 something of the 88 or so kits back in production. Then we said, okay, what are we going to do next? So we introduced an upscale of the tray, and there's one behind me. I'm not going to touch it, but it's behind me here against the wall. It's a 24 millimeter version of the kit. And that was the first thing that we did. That was just a basic upscale. And then we said, okay, what comes next? And we took the buckshot and made a slightly different version of it. We call it the Gigabucks, and comes with a few different sets of decals for it to either make it the Gigabucks, which is $1 million kind of a theme, or if you wanted to make a spaceship theme, it's got another set of decals with it to do that. It's a 24 millimeter as built, as designed. However, we sell it with the adapter, so you can fly it in 18s. I've flown these as small as an A83. Doesn't go very high, but if you got tiny field, it's all good. All the way up to an E. It also comes with both a streamer, a very large streamer, and a parachute. So if you stick an E into it, you can see it coming down from way up high where it is. Then we got done with that. We said, okay, let's look at some other things. And then Curtis Heisey approached us, and you probably recognize the name. He's written a number of articles on upscale Deuces Wild. So he approached us up here in the Northeast. And he said, well, I've got this 3-inch version. And so we've made a number of them. We sold a few last summer at some of the big launches in the Northeast. And then we had I'll call it a structural failure on about 500 feet up. And so we stopped, and we haven't put it on the website yet, but we built a few more prototypes just to make sure we did not have a design problem, that we simply had an assembly problem, which is what we suspected. It's 229s. It's a 3D printed nose cone and a lock tube. So and we get the laser cut fins with it. So that'll be on the website probably within the next month, because it's really ready to go. We've got enough to get a few of them out the door here, and then we'll proceed from there. The next big thing that we're doing, and this is probably 2 to 3 months away, we're calling it the Radial Velocity. So it's again, it's a lock component, so it's a lock tube. This will be a 29 millimeter. Right now, this one's got no motor mount in it. Laser cut fins, and the long strakes are actually just made of simple bass, but again, laser cut, and a ring fin on the out of it to hold it all together. It's based on a design I built the first one of about 10 years ago. You look at it, it's pretty scarred up, it's pretty beat up, it's been torn out of trees, it's crashed, it's had all kinds of problems. But it's a wonderful flyer, down to an F50, all the way up to, I stuck a baby H in it once in some big long area. We also, in the last year, we've upscaled the Mud Wasp to 24 millimeter, and it's actually very simple build. Nice big flyer down to a C11. C11 doesn't get it very far up. Again, if you got a very small field, you want to show a demo flight where it doesn't go too far, all the way up to an E. And I suspect you could just keep going. It's a very simple, tough build, basswood fins. And then the question is, as we look to the future, what do we do next? We've got a few ideas on the table. We might take an intermediate size of a Deuces Wild and make a 24 millimeter version. Again, pretty straightforward. We could do it with components that we have in the inventory today, and that's a big thing for us. Might take once we get the big Radial Velocity out the door, might make a tri-motor tray version of it in a smaller scale. Flown that a whole bunch of times in the last 10 years. So that's another idea. And finally, the other two things we are thinking about, anyone can certainly send a message. This thing here was very loosely inspired by, I'll call it, the sun probe from the very first Thunderbirds episode. So it's got a bunch of tubes for fins. It goes to a split. You can see it's 4 smaller tubes, 4 VT20s that get from the bottom to where the parachute is. The only thing is that I haven't progressed it yet, because when I stick a big enough motor into it, it gets not quite stable enough for my liking. So either I've got to add some weight, which I prefer not to do, or maybe it grows some little vestigial Saturn 1B type fins. The other thing we thought about is this thing here. This may come to life later in the year. Very simple. Again, the interesting thing about this is we took a whole bunch of launch lugs and used them to center one tube in another, and then some other ones that go in between 2 layers of balsa for the fins. You can get a good look at that if I hold up to the camera. So the fins are very thick, but they're actually made up of many components, and so that it doesn't weigh anything. So that's a pretty nice flyer, and we might produce that later in the year. Again, so it depends on what people say anything here. If they like it, they don't like it. Again, very, very loosely inspired by Thunderbird 3, actually, that was the first conception that I had when I built it, maybe 7, 8 years ago. So that's what we're doing with Fliss kits into the future. Anyone who has some other ideas, kick them toward us. We are looking at continuing to take some things and upscale them into a high power rocket scenario so that you'll see more bigger things from Fliss kits. That'll come. It's just a matter of when. So I'll take any questions if you have them.
Questions for Ray?
Take my money. Your upskills look good. Thank you for presenting
you.
those.
There'll be more coming.
Do those last fins you showed whistle when they fly?
No, it doesn't. It maybe make it go fast enough, but when I've flown it, no, it's never made any odd noises. Well, you'd think so. Got a million holes in it, right? And you look at it, there's holes around each of the nacelles, and there's holes in the fins, but no.
Very novel.
Yeah, normal, not spoken here. That's kind of the Fliss Kit's mantra. And we're trying to keep that up. Jim and I talk every so often. So
Ray, that last model is very Jim Fliss like. That's very Fliss.
yeah. Well,
Really novel, really neat.
Him and I have for years. I mean, it took some convincing for him to sell me the company, but that was based on the idea that every time I showed up somewhere, at one point I held up something and showed it to me. He goes, "You are one twisted individual." I said, "Take that as a compliment from Jim Fliss."
Any more questions for Ray, please? Okay. Well, thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
And thanks for participating. All right. Next, Randy Bodway. Are you out there somewhere?
Hi, Bob. I'm out here.
All right. Good to see
All
you.
right. I'm going to go through the same exercise everybody else does. How do I screen share? I want to share that screen right there. All right. That should come up in a second here, folks. Somebody give me a screen when you see that.
Yeah,
Got it here.
We see your website.
All right. This is the eRockets webpage. We're at erockets.biz. I was just thinking, you know, we've had a few really, really good years. In fact, we've had 10 good years in a row. And I really need to thank you guys. The last couple of years have been more challenging, but our volume continues to grow at an unbelievable pace. And I want to thank you guys for making us successful. We carry a lot of parts, and it's really important that it's easy to find parts. And I get from people all the time, I mean, I get emails saying, hey, what's the part number for this or that? And I'll send you a link. But I want to show you how I find most of these parts, because they're really easier to find on the web page than any other way that I find those parts. These lines up in the left-hand corner, they're really great because that's our menu of all the different categories we have. And I know you guys like this clearance and the specials, 40% off and all that stuff. Keep shopping there. Anytime we find a good buy, we pass it along to you guys. So we find a lot of good buys, and that really helps. And then all of our menus for kits are based on the manufacturer. So if you're looking for a custom kit or a Dr. Zooch kit or an MPC kit or Mad Cow or Lock or Estes or whoever, we've got breakdowns of all those kits on the left-hand side. But you see the little pluses on the right-hand side? That is opportunities for you to see the kits broken down into more levels. So if you want a level 1, 2, or 3 from custom, you can just go to that particular category, and that'll get you where you want to go. The reason I'm doing this elementary stuff is because there's a really tough category down here called parts for rockets. And there's a plus sign there, and you can open that up, and you'll have all of our bulkheads, our baffles, our body tubes, our centering rings. And if you continue to explore down, you'll see these pluses over here. You can hit a plus, and if you need a certain size body tube and you know the diameter, well, you can get yourself narrowed right down to that diameter. Click on that diameter, and you'll see all of our choices for that particular tube. And it goes on for centering rings and engine mounts and all kinds of different things. Well, the other thing that people are always asking me is, how do I know what those body tube sizes are? And this is actually our second biggest page hit on our site. And that is under references is a body tube size chart. And it includes every body tube that we sell and all the dimensions down to the 1,000th of an inch. So if you need to do some cross-referencing or you're doing some upscaling or downscaling, you can go and use this chart to help you figure out what parts you need. We've also got some prefixes in here. So if you want to know what kind of couplers would fit this tube or what kind of nose cones would fit that tube, you can narrow those searches down as well. Anyway, I wanted to share that with everyone. I think that is something that is kind of important and valuable to you guys as Rocketeers. And now I got to figure out how do I unshare? Anybody know? Oh, stop share right there. There's a big red button for it. All right. So now the good stuff. We've got a new kit out, and we like when we release new kits, we tend to put a batch out to kind of see how did we do manufacturing wise. You know, designing a kit is easy. It's the manufacturing part that's hard. And so we've sourced out all the good stuff. And yes, the scissor wing transport is now a reality. It's a beautiful kit, flies on 18mm motors, just like the original. We've added rubber bands and of course, laser cutting from the originals. And it's a beautiful kit. It's been flying out the door. In fact, we don't have any more parts left right now. We're going to be out of it for about a week, and then we'll produce another batch or two, and that will be available for you. We've also had people put this together in different colors. So here you have a color scheme of chrome. Beautiful kit. We're happy with it, and I'm sure you guys will be happy with it as well. Everybody's talking about glue again. I wish you guys would stop that on all these groups because it just gets so long. Anyway, I've got some opinions, and Bob Smith makes a really nice glue that Rocketeers are not using enough. And this particular glue is Instaflex. And basically what it is, it's a CA that has a silicone type product in it, silicone beads in it, so that it's very flexible. Once you put it on, it's fairly flexible, so it takes hits better out there when you have something hit the ground a little too hard. It comes in two flavors, thin and thick. And the old favorite of this line is there's also the rubber fill glue, where again, it's CA with just a rubber additive to it. So, and the nice thing about this is black in color. When you use it on your rocket, you know where those parts are, because everywhere where there's black, there's glue. And then last but not least, well, maybe there's a couple more. This is a really cool product, Icy Gel, and it comes in a couple of different sizes. And it is a gel product that is really, really great for making quick repairs in the field. Or if you've got a really, really hard to reach location, it's a great glue for catching places that you're having a hard time. It's really good for repairs. Kicker works with it. So it's, you know, one of those types of things. So take a look on eRocket's website and find those things from Bob Smith Industries, and you'll be pleasantly surprised by some of the options that are available. And then, of course, I talk about it all the time, eBond. eBond is one of the best wood glues on the planet. I challenge you. All right. One more thing under our brand name is we have a water-based sanding sealer. It's been going like crazy. Anyway, it's really good stuff. If you haven't used a water-based sanding sealer, give that a shot. And gee whiz, the only other thing I've got to talk about is Excel. I mean, you guys are out there burning through these blades and stuff all the time, or maybe you need a new miter box, but I want to do a special just for you guys. So for the next month, we're going to do on the erockets.biz website, 40% off all Excel. I'll set it up tonight and you have a month to take advantage of that. And that's my pitch, guys. I'm glad to take questions if you have any.
All right, questions for Randy.
Is the Bluebird Super?
The Super Bluebird? I
Yeah.
don't know when we're going to get that done. I don't happen to have it out right now, but we are going to do that someday. We've had great time with the Cherokee when it came out as a 29 millimeter. Bluebird Zero's on the drawing board to do that as soon as we can. We're having a lot of trouble getting kits out. You know, labor's impacting us. Our volume's been so fantastic over the last 18, 19 months, especially, that we're having a hard time getting the orders out every day, let alone produce more kits. So we're a little bit behind the times. We're dealing with some balsa shortages. You know, bless them, Estes, you know, they've got a good source set up. But all of our balsa wood comes in from Central America and South America, and it's been a tough going. We are going to be producing more 3D printed parts, and that will help alleviate our balsa wood need. So we're hoping that'll be happening soon. The other Pro Series kits, not only the Bluebird Zero, but we'll have a Mars Snooper, even larger Mars Snooper than you've seen before. And we're going to have a orbital transport in a very large 29 millimeter version as well.
Randy, and the orbital transport, you mentioned that at NARAM. Is it getting closer or is it still a year away?
It's no, it's getting a lot closer. In fact, I'll be right back. I've got to show you this. .3D printing is really going to get a lot more prominent. And when we do 3D printing, this is the nose cone on the glider. Look at that nose cone. It's got this beautiful cockpit in the top. And we're going to be very, very happy with this. The other thing that you'll be really, really happy with is look at that nozzle. So those are some of the things that you don't see in the original version. All this stuff on the end of the nozzle and the nose cone. So now that we're making a bigger model, we can show those details.
Okay, the reason I asked is as much as I like the new Estes larger one, that one looks a little bit easier to RC the glider.
If you're good at RCing bricks, you can do it.
All I want to do is point
it. You got it.
Thanks, Randy.
It flies so much like the space shuttle just because it's just so heavy and it's.
My first orbital glider flew away before I knew about turning it. I want to RC it so I get it back.
Yeah, and we tell you those things in the instructions for this thing. We actually tell you where and how to adjust the rudder so that it does come around in a circle.
Oh, I'm sure Estes did 20 years ago, but I didn't watch that part.
We'll give you a jig to help you out there.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Any other questions?
Hey, Randy.
Yes.
Scott, haven't talked to you in a while.
Hi,
Yeah,
Scott.
I'm still looking at the ASAT 135 project in the future. Maybe sometime I can get together with you out in Dayton and go to the museum. But backtracking, what's the diameter of the main tube on your orbital transport scale up?
That tube is going to be an ST20. So it'll be the Centauri heavier duty tubing. In fact, everything we do.
So it's a 2-inch tube.
It's a 2-inch tube.
Okay.
And everything we do, we're going to be using Centauri based tubing in the future. It's just heavier tube and it makes for much nicer kits. we're looking for durability and keeping you guys going on these things as well. Plus, we've got every part available separately in the building. So we've got about 3,000 rocket parts for you to order specifically for any repairs or custom work you want to do.
Good.
That sounds like that's it, Bob. Let's go on.
Okay, Randy. Thank you very much, Randy.
Take care, everybody. Thanks again for the business.
Always. Okay. Is Andy Jackson out there?
I'm here.
All right, Andy, take it away.
Well, now that it's well past my bedtime. Let's see. Whoops. Well, greetings from lovely Lake Placid, Florida, the Caladium capital of the world and the city in the United States with the highest per capita population of clowns. So take that for what you will. I'm Andy Jackson from Aerospace Specialty Products, known around the hobby a lot of times as ASP. If you're not familiar with us, we've been around for about 25 years. We have scale kits, competition kits, sport kits, bulk kits for educational use, components, competition supplies, engines, adhesives, et cetera, et cetera. In the past year or two, some of the more popular new items we put out are the neon sport chutes, which come in several colors you can see back there and sizes. Several more of our minimum diameter Micromax kits. And the most recent of those was the Micro Astro BD. And today we're going to put out its a little bit bigger brother, 13 millimeter minimum diameter Astro BD kit. It's got laser cut balsa fin or basswood fins, balsa nose cones, water slide decals, wire antennas. This is on the website as of today. It's going to be at a introductory price of $12.95 for the next week. So check it out while you can. We also had a limited run of our, we always called our big Wack kit, which was our 2.6 inch Wack with built up wood fins, balsa nose cone. We hadn't had this in a while because of some supply issues. We do have a handful of these left, and I mean literally a handful. I don't know when or if we'll have these again, certainly not anytime soon. So if you're interested in those, you can go to the website. Again, the website right up there, asp-rocketry.com. While you're there, sign up for our mailing list. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Asp Rocketry, all one word, just that, and you take the dash out. Again, I'll be short and sweet because it's getting late for everybody. And like several other people mentioned, the last 2.5 years, 3 years have been a rough one for everybody. It's been tough, but we really appreciate the support we've been given from all of you and the business you've given us. And so we're hoping for a much better 2022 and for the years on. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Andy. That 13 millimeter Astro BD, is that in any way related to what MPC put out about 50 years ago?
I couldn't tell you. I never thought. It's just scaled off of what, a BT5 size tube.
Looks good. Any questions for Andy? Don't want to keep them up too late.
When you're getting old, it's late now.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you, Andy. Have a good night. Okay, let's see here on the list. One I haven't called yet is Mr. Rosenfield out there.
I'm here.
All right, Gary, good to see you.
Hey, it's great to participate in this virtual NARCON again and at the Manufacturers Forum. Very excited to share with you a bunch of stuff we've been working on. And let me get started here. Okay, can you see? Can you see everything?
Yeah, Gary, we're good.
Good. Okay. All right. So we want to begin by announcing this is our 40th anniversary this year. It's been quite a fun ride. You can see on the left, there's one of our original ads from the old days. And on the right is a new ad from, I guess, pretty recent, the last month or so that we're running. So we're glad we're still here and we're growing and doing more than ever. This is going to be a big year for us. Last year was a big year, but this one might take the cake for us. All right. Let's see here. All right, I just had to switch over the apps there. All right, so let's recap some of last year's releases. We brought out an F-52 Classic Enerjet in the 29 by 83 millimeter casing. And we also did the 24 by 70 millimeter White Lightning Q jets. Those were announced at last year's NARCON. They've been very popular for us. Everybody seems to love them. And we're excited that they've been accepted so well. And, you know, it's enabling us to move forward with other things. So that's really great. The G8 and the G12 Super Thunder motors. This is a propellant that burns in between the rate of Blue Thunder and Warp 9. And it was perfect for these end burners that were originally designed for Joe Barnard's rockets. And they still could be used in them, but people want to use them in gliders and lightweight vertical rockets. So you can get some incredible altitudes with these. The B64 Q jets. This is a White Lightning version of a very popular motor, the B6. And this is of the, you know, we now have two different propellants for the B motor, the B6W and the B4 fast blackjack. And we brought out the Quick Q model rocket starter set and launch set, two different products. The starter set includes 3 B64W Q-jet motors, and this set can be ready to launch in 45 to 60 minutes. It includes our liftoff launch pad and Q2 launch controller. This is the first time that starter sets have been available with different composite propellant types. So we have both the Black Max and the White Lightning starter sets now. The L1940 propellant X reload kit for the RMS 75 3840 hardware. This was identified as a demand from our customers and dealers for specific college team competitions. And we wanted to outperform the competitive product that was out there. That was the goal. We tried it about 2 years ago and we didn't quite get there, but we did it again. And we came up with a motor that's 4,329 Newton seconds. That's the highest performance of any reload in that size casing. And we're delivering a 242 second ISP, which is phenomenal. It's about the same as a space shuttle solid rocket booster. It's a 2.2 second burn time, 1,825 grams of propellant, 3,856 grams total weight. It's plugged only, of course, so you have to use electronic recovery deployment. It's retailing at $259.99. And there's a shot of it going up at NSL last year. And the new Quest kits, it took us a little while longer than we thought to get them out, but they're out now. The Sport, the Falcon, and the Icarus, they're designed for 24 by 70 millimeter Q jets. They include a motor mount adapter for 18 by 70 millimeter Q jets, and you can order them now. The Q picks were introduced last year, announced last year. These are very easy to use. And historically, how to retain initiators and especially composite propellant motors has always been a challenge, especially with composites. So, but with 3D printing technology, we've been able to design and produce a very easy to use and effective initiator retainer. So there's two different sizes. There's an 18 millimeter in orange and a 24 millimeter in red. And they're included with all the Q jets that are shipping now, and they are reusable. And we're actually going to provide the STL 3D print files if anybody wants to make them for old motors or whatever they want to do with them. And you can also use them in other composites, reloads, and other single-use motors that have a similar throat diameter, of course. All right, so that's a recap of last year. Let's talk about this year. First up is a brand new Aerotech Quest website. This combines all 1,000 Aerotech, over 1,000 Aerotech and Quest retail products into one store, and all the products that are on the 11-page comprehensive price list and our 4-page Aerotech Quest hobby retail price list are included. And there's a lot of photos up there, but we're going to be adding more photos over time. So be patient with us. And the resource library that everybody likes to use is a work in process. There's, you can see the mobile site. So you saw the browser, the computer browser site in the other picture, and this is the mobile site. So the resource library, we have a lot of it back up on the RCS website, but we'll be moving it also over to the Aerotech website, the new one. We're going live on this site on Monday, the 31st. Next up is the I-40. This is a Warp 9 plugged long burn DMS end burner. Warp 9 propellant. It's 38 millimeters diameter by 203 millimeters long. It generates about 375 Newton seconds of total impulse with a burn time of 10 seconds. 197 grams propellant, 360 roughly grams total weight. It's plugged only, and of course you got to use electronic deployment, but there's lots of options there. It's great for large gliders and lightweight vertical trajectory rockets for flights to high altitudes, and could probably be used in an upscaled TVC rocket. These are already AAA certified. They're already California State Fire Marshal approved. Retail will be $58.99. There's a shot of a firing on the test stand. Availability and shipping will be announced later. Next up, the J615 Super Thunder 20-second adjustable delay Aerospike RMS reload. This is the world's first certified rocket motor using an Aerospike nozzle. This uses RMS 54852 hardware. That's the 2-grain 54 millimeter RMS hardware. It's our Super Thunder propellant, again, in between burn rate of Blue Thunder and Warp 9. It's a 745.5 Newton second certified total impulse, 1.2 second burn time, 370.5 grams of propellant, 801.7 grams total. It's got a very novel exhaust plume, as you can see here. It shows up in flight as well. It's got a very high thrust profile for heavy rockets. It's already AAA certified. It's already California approved. Retail price, $98.99 suggested. Again, availability and shipping will be announced. The N1100 long burn DMS motor. We've got a couple of new DMS motors. This is the N1100. This is a DMS or single use analog of the N1000 RMS reload. 98 millimeters by 1019 millimeters, White Lightning propellant, 14,418 Newton seconds. So it's a nice solid mid-range N, 14.5 second burn time, 7.3 kilograms propellant weight, 12.3 kilograms total weight. It's plugged, electronic deployment only. It is AAA certified. However, because of California's limitations, cannot be certified, can't be used in California. I apologize for that. Retail price, $1299.99. Again, availability and shipping to be announced. And we've got also the N1975W DMS. That's a DMS analog of the N2000 reload. Again, same dimensions, same propellant, a little bit lower impulse, just under 14,000 Newton seconds, 7-second burn time, 7.7 kilograms propellant, 12.2 kilograms total weight. It's plugged, of course. Again, Tripoli certified, not for sale in California. It's an N motor. Same price as the other one, $1299.99. Shipping will be announced later. Well, that was going to be it, but of course, there's one more thing. All right. So after the release of the successful release of the 24 by 70 millimeter Q jets, it seemed a natural next step to develop the 24 by 95 millimeter Q jets, right? Okay, there we go. We got two new motors that are going to be coming out. We have an E35. It's white lightning propellant, 40 newtons, a full 40 Newton seconds total impulse, 1.1 second burn, 25.2 grams propellant. So it's USPS shippable. 57.3 grams total weight. It'll be in 5, 8, and 11 second delays. It's 20% more total impulse than an E16 black powder motor, but only 70% of the weight of an E16 black powder motor. $24.99 MSRP for a complete 2-pack launch pack that includes improved first fire micro initiators and recovery wadding. And these are completely competitive with the black powder equivalents. And we also have an F41, again, white lightning, 46 Newton seconds total impulse, 1.1 second burn, 30.0 grams propellant. So still shippable USPS, 62 grams total weight, same 5, 8, and 11 second delays. So this motor has 93% of the total impulse of an F15 black powder motor, but only 60% of the weight of the F15 black powder. $28.99 MSRP for the complete 2-pack launch pack, and includes the widening and the first fire micro initiators. So both of these use our patent pending molded case. They feature our trademark Aerotech thrust rings and the Q-pick initiator retainers. They're both USPS mailable with no hazmat fee. The black powder E16 and the F15 are not. They both fit 24 by 95 millimeter motor mounts and larger. The E16 and F15 only fit 29 millimeter. TRA certification will be pending, and California State Fire Marshal approval is expected for both motors by the time of release. This information will be published in an ad running in the March 2022 issue of Hobby Merchandiser magazine, and these are planned for late spring 2022 release. So there's a couple of thrust curves you can see. They are a little bit progressive, but quite usable. And we got yet one more thing to talk about, and that is we're building a new facility this year. This is our new Aerotech Quest Industrial Solid Propulsion and RCS rocket motor components facility. This is going to be over 15,000 square feet. It's going to consolidate our warehouse, offices, and additional manufacturing capability that we built right next door to our existing propellant mixing and motor processing facility. We're going to have a 30-foot tall initiator rocket outside, so you can all come down, get your pictures taken with it. We're going to include a little museum, a showroom, and a retail store in the new building. We're planning to have company tours, and scheduled opening is late this year. So in summary, as our advertising says, Q-jets are the future of model rocket flight, and now they are totally price competitive with black powder motors up to E and F size. We continue to design and produce new and innovative model and high power motors. The next time you hear about the new products, you will, as before, they'll be available from our dealer network for immediate delivery. And our new facility will help us meet the growing demand and decrease our lead times. And I want to thank Dane Bowles, Carl Bauman, and our entire staff at Aerotech Quest RCS for helping to bring these new products to reality. And I want to thank you for your participation and attention. and for supporting us these 40 years we've been in business. And we'll now do some questions if I can get out of the sharing. Okay. Oh, let me show you just a couple things. So here are the packs of the 24x95 motors. Back. Just the same theme of packaging on the Q-Jets. There's a couple of individual motors. You can see the nozzles. Holding them backwards. And also got the kits. You want to see the actual packaged kits. Sport. The Icarus. And the Falcon.
Gary, I don't see those on the website. Are they going to be on the new website, not the old ones?
Yes, they'll be on the new website. And we've been in the process. It's been a long process, but we've been repackaging all the Quest kits in new packaging that has a similar theme. So they're all looking like this. Also, we've got some new decals. Here's the nice decals that come with the kit. There's one of the Icarus. And yeah, we're really excited about this year. We've had a big year, and we're going to have a bigger year this year. So again, thanks for everybody. Any other questions?
Hey, Gary, you're going to come out with any Warp 9 end burner Quest motors for booster stages?
Well, everybody
How
asks
about bring back some old Enerjet kits?
Everybody asks about the smaller Warp 9, but the problem with the Warp 9 is it's a little hard. It's hard to cast in the smaller tubes. So we'll probably do some Super Thunder motors in the like 29 millimeter or something like that later. As far as the Enerjet kits go, that's all very, very possible.
I'd like those.
Like a plan.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, Bob.
Is the Aerospike nozzle going to be expanded into other motor classes?
You know, that product started out as we were just selling them as an individual part on the RCS site, and we wanted to certify at least one motor with it. So there's no plans to certify any other Aerospike motors right now, unless, yeah, it's more of a novelty thing.
Am I right in thinking that long burning eye does not need any epoxy to assemble or anything of the kind?
That's correct. It's a fully assembled motor.
I quite like that. Thank you.
Yeah. Just like the G8 and the G12.
I like that big 30-foot initiator. You gonna
I'll
bring
bet.
those out in kits?
We'll have to get a picture of you with it, Bob.
Yeah, I'll have to come up there.
Maybe
you gotta put a 30-foot Mustang next to it.
Yeah, you have to ride it like Slim Pickens.
I want a 60-foot G-force.
Uh-huh. Hey, we'll have a rocket garden.
There you go.
Right?
A giant warthog.
Well, we actually have a giant warthog that Mark Clark and mostly I think Robin Meredith built. And we flew that. That was a memorial flight for Paul Hans that we flew at the Balls launch.
What diameter?
6-inch, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
So I got a question about the new Q-Jet 24 millimeter motors.
Okay.
It seems like they're starting to overlap some of the Aerotech single use, like the E20s and F-32s. How's that gonna work out? Are you gonna discontinue those maybe, or?
No, because these are, they're basically lower total impulse. So you'll still get better performance from the Aerotech, the larger Aerotech motors. I mean, the 24s. Yeah. So there's a little bit overlap, but I think that's kind of where we're going to draw the line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of when the QPic 3D printing files will be available to use?
Well, you know, I've already emailed them to somebody. I just need a place to post them. That other, you know, a place that takes files other than just PDFs and stuff. So if you send me an email, I'll be happy to send them to you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just you could send it to customer service at aerotech-rocketry.com and just reference this conversation, and I'll be happy to email them to you.
More
Okay.
questions?
Hello. Oh, is working? I
Hi.
guess not.
Yeah, it's
You're
working.
on.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Is there you have a list of your dealer network where they're located at on the web?
There was one on the old site and there will be one on the new site. It's not there yet.
I'm hoping to buy some here in Omaha.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, is that it for questions? All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
Gary.
everybody.
Good seeing you again.
Good seeing you too.
Okay. Ed, you there? I think that wraps it up.
I are here.
Okay. Well, I'd like to just thank everybody who for their patience tonight. And I think everything in the end worked out really nice. I thank our participants for their time and staying up late. And I think that's it. Thanks again, Ed.
The only thing I'd like to say in closing, I'll echo what Bob said. Todd and I really appreciate everyone's patience. I know it was a very trying moment, and a lot of you probably thought, what was the point of, part of my entry fee if I wasn't going to be able to attend Manufax? What we found out so far is that the room cap went to 100 with no notification by Zoom, and despite what the NAR already pays for its, I guess you would say, professional Zoom account, they raised the amount of money to exceed 100 individuals in a session. They raised that cost up to exceed that to $2,500. Well, we didn't know there was any increase in the cost, let alone the fact that we had been notified we were going to be capped at 100. So just so you know, it wasn't on us, but I just appreciate that everybody worked with us.
At least
Yeah.
that makes sense.
All right.
Yeah,
Where else were we going to go, Ed?
What's that?
I said, where else were we going to go?
Well, it certainly made for an exciting 30 minutes in my life today. So
Yeah.
Yeah, get some sleep, Todd.
Thanks for ironing it all out.
What I really want to
Worked
say,
out well in the end.
this is important, everybody. I really want to thank Will Marchant for helping us out here. So he basically used his business account to allow us to do this. Otherwise, we didn't have a plan B without Will's help. So everyone, a big round of applause and kudos for helping us out. Thank you, Bill.
He gets the President's Award.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Will.
Yeah,
no worries. Glad it worked out. Don't tell my boss.
And with respect to a question that was put up here in the chat towards the end, will there be the same problems with tomorrow's session? Let me say this, Todd's already worked in the background to address the problems. I will say that in terms of both the beer loft and the social hour, we're going to live with the 100 person cap. So you're kind of forewarned, first 100 in, that's the best we can do at this point on this kind of notice. But it's important to us who have gone the extra mile for this event. Last year's numbers suggest we won't have a problem with that 100 people. I guess we'll find out.
If we do, could we start up a second one parallel to the first? Another 100 can go in there.
We certainly could do that. However, like, for
If we need
example, what's the beer loft at, like 9 PM?
No, actually,
This
let's
is
see.
11
different
PM
accounts for
over
separate
on the East
sessions.
Coast, So.
Right.
Yeah, beer loft starts at 7:30, my time, 8:30 your time, 8:30 Central Standard.
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't
9:30 on
start
the
it.
East Coast.
We couldn't start another.
If we
The
need it.
biggest concern is going to be the Estes presentation. That's going to be
Well,
another big draw.
Yeah, the Estes presentation is not a Zoom event.
Yeah,
though.
that's
It is-
not Zoom, that's Accelerant, so we
Right.
won't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and we've also moved the town hall meeting to an Excel event, so.
Yeah,
we
that
won't-
was Zoom, but we've moved it over. It'll be like last year.
Yep.
You'll just get to look at John.
Yep.
Can we turn off the picture?
That's on you, Bob.
Oh, there's a power button on your monitor. You can just turn the monitor off.
Right.
Good point.
I'll
dress up for on Sunday for you all.
Hey, thanks, John.
Guys, I just want to express my thanks for all the effort you put into this to make this work tonight. You know, you've been doing that for days, and it was just really, really appreciated. And to
Oh.
Will as well. Really
Yeah.
want to thank you.
Will's really the lifesaver.
Yep. Thanks. It's good to hear that, Steve.
Yes, thank you for all the work that you guys and everybody has done to put this together. Both last year and again this year, I'm really enjoying being able to participate, which I
You're
wouldn't
welcome,
necessarily
Robert.
be able to do without the virtual event, unfortunately.
I appreciate this as well. I was here last year, and I think that you guys are doing even better this year than last. I think things are going really well.
As much as I like the physical event with NARCON, this virtual method for at least one of the NAR events works out great.
Appreciate hearing that, George. I know
Thanks,
John
George.
made a note of that.
Yeah, agreed.
And we get to see the other tracks that we don't participate in because we can go watch the recordings.
Exactly.
That's the big reason. I always had to choose between tracks. This way I don't have to.
Right.
Yeah. You know, and the great thing that I appreciate is you can watch them and rewatch them. Like, who doesn't want to watch Duffy build a Saturn again and just fast forward through the hard parts? I wish I could do that in the shop.
Well, I have previewed a little bit of Steve Crystal's Building with Paper. Believe it or not, I think a lot of you really ought to tune in for that session. I think it's going to be a really, really good session, even though it won't take an end motor, Gary.
Thanks a lot, Ed. I hope I live up to that tomorrow.
I have every faith.
All right.
All right. Well, if everybody's good with it, I hold the magic button and I can just kill this now. So if everybody wants to wave and say goodbye, I will see you all tomorrow morning for the intro to Saturday's event. And again, thank you all very much for your patience. Look forward to seeing all of your faces tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah,
Have a good
thanks,
night.
Todd.
All right. Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.